Bradley somehow, he pushed twice. Like Bradley has not lost in 3 weeks. And it's not like he's gone 3-0. I mean, he did the last 2 weeks, 6-0 combined. This week he went 1-0-2. So he pushed.
I just don't lose.
I mean,
that's the thing.
It is painful for me to have to turn on my television and watch as I feel like, oh, there's a good chance that Bradley loses this week. Maybe I'll get a leg up on him in the win totals, or at least he'll have more losses than me. But no, now we got 2 pushes.
I just sneak through the back door.
Cancel it out. Like, even when you don't have the best week, you're not losing. And that's just mind-boggling to me. But this week it's different. I got back on the horse. I went 2-1.
No, this was good. I mean, frankly,
the Packers thing was. I mean,
that bet should have hit. Like, that is a disgrace.
It is,
the Packers
and I almost like went all the way around and bet on the Cowboys to win by the line was like 5 points, but it was in Green Bay, so I just couldn't. I was like, "You're being over emotional, Emma. You're a over emotional woman. I should not be in any position of power because I might get my period at some point. So I should not be making these decisions about getting back at the Packers by betting on the Cowboys."
You were being a little hysterical earlier.
You're right. I mean, I don't want to fall into that trap.
I was nervous that you were having a case of the vapors.
Yeah, I really just need to make a pie for some therapy.
Leave it on the windowsill.
That's where I'm happier. But Patriots, that was the one I was probably most confident. Ravens -2.5. I might have said I was most confident in. The Patriots line was bigger, but that was a shellacking. And yeah, Bradley, you pushed on 2 field goal lines. 3 points for the Vikings, 3 points for the Falcons, who lost by 3 points, and then the Seahawks +2. That was an easy one.
The Chargers always give me chaos.
Right.
Either when I bet for them or against them, there's always some weird shit going on.
Yeah. So the Chargers, they're one of the most infuriating teams for me this year because it's
from
just,
all aspects, offensive,
they do not
defensive,
play
and
to their
betting.
players' strengths, particularly their quarterback strengths.
We've talked about it, but I think like it's a sneaky potentially like development.
Firing?
But like they should fire Brandon
I
Staley.
agree.
Just because even if the defense is not performing as well as we thought it would, which was his calling card to begin with, and Herbert is not playing that well, and the wide receiver room is as threadbare as we've seen it, and they didn't actually upgrade it before the trade deadline, it's a real indictment on the front office and the coaching staff of that team that they can't get more out of who they have.
I agree.
Other teams are getting more out of who they have with less talent.
The Giants, for example.
The Giants.
The Vikings. The Titans.
Like there are better teams with worse rosters doing way better than the Chargers.
Yeah. Yeah, although I don't know if the Vikings roster is worse than the Chargers. I'm like kind of just because the offensive firepower is so good, but
I guess nobody thought the Vikings were going to be 7-1.
Their defense is
and they're 7-1.
They have fine pieces on defense, but it's not.
And they're keeping them
in games. They don't have Khalil Mack, J.C. Jackson, who's out, or Derwin James.
Derwin James, right?
Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa. I mean, it's just like it's. I see where you're coming from in the sense. I see where you're coming from because honestly, like Justin Jefferson is probably better than like any Chargers player besides Herbert. Or maybe on the offensive side, I'd probably say besides Herbert or like Rashawn Slater. But still,
yeah. Anyway, let's do our picks for this week.
Let's
then.
do it.
So I'm going Thursday Night Football tonight.
Yeah, you're following in my footsteps.
I am. I'm taking the Falcons. I was shocked to see them as just 2.5-point favorites. I know that it's in Carolina. Do I think that the Carolina Panthers have a significant home field advantage? Absolutely not. I do not think that. So I just think Atlanta is clearly the better team. Now, the Panthers do have some really strong defensive players, and it seems like they've gotten a bit like new life, a bit of new life now that Steve Wilkes was the head coach, or at least I thought that until they got their shit kicked in by the Bengals, who do not run a complicated offense, did not have Jamar Chase, they're more talented for sure. And then you have Joe Burrow. So it's like, what are you going to do in those instances? But at the same time, when you have that kind of blowout, I just feel like if you have a blowout and you're still a competitive team in the playoff race, and you haven't like traded away probably your best or definitely your best offensive player at that moment in Christian McCaffrey, clearly just setting yourself up for next year. If that weren't the case, I would say, okay, maybe they'll get angry and bounce back. But they've already fired their head coach. They're on their interim head coach. I just think that kind of loss is deflating, especially when you're coming off a short week and you're playing the Atlanta Falcons, who have something to play for. They are in the mix for the NFC South. And so Cordarrelle Patterson is back. That I think gives the Atlanta Falcons an added edge in their run game, which has been very successful this year. And I just see the Falcons winning by at least a field goal. Hopefully Mariota kind of cuts back on some of the more boneheaded decisions that he's been regressing towards recently, and they just run the ball. So there you go.
Yeah, I also just think like even with some of the pieces we really like on the Panthers, with the defensive front, like Derek Brown, Brian Burns, guys like that, like this team is just bad.
Yeah.
And the vibes are not good, and they are in a complete transitory period in the middle of the season. So
and PJ Walker's playing again.
Yeah,
so.
and PJ Walker's playing. He had that one unbelievable throw to DJ Moore, but like that also didn't even lead to a win, and also in kind of a to contribute to the bad vibes, the penalty when DJ Moore took his helmet off led to them losing the game. So like it was almost kind of a double-edged sword, that phenomenal play.
And I would be a little worried with AJ Terrell out, who's really playing well.
And one of their probably besides
their best
like
defensive
Grady
player
Jarrett,
besides
the best defensive
I would
player.
take him over.
Yeah, I don't know
Jarrett now
because he's also younger too.
Yeah, he's a top 10 corner in the league.
He's
I
awesome.
think.
Yeah, I love watching him play.
So it is.
But the Falcons, I just think they're more.
PJ Walker can't hit the broadside of a barn. Like he throws the ball really hard, and you guys know I'm a sucker for arm strength, but there's no accuracy there.
No, that was kind of like the Moore touchdown too was like a prayer and an unbelievable catch by Moore. Also, it wasn't just like wide open to him in the end zone. But I just think the Falcons' offense is just so much more dynamic and creative, and if the defense can hold up like 20% more than the Panthers can, I think it makes sense.
So you're with me on this one?
Yeah, I could see it. I could definitely see it. I just I'm not betting on the Panthers in any capacity until they prove otherwise.
Understand. So now you are taking the Das Munich game.
Yes, of course. I'm hoping for max chaos in the German game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think I found this interesting because the Hawks are plus 2.5 dogs here. And like you said, it's a neutral site game. There's European travel, so maybe there could be some weirdness that goes on. I feel like there always is in the European games. But
they are actually 3.5 underdogs. That's 2 in German. Okay. Anyway, go on. 1, 2, 3.
2.5.
I don't know why I remember that from my childhood.
No,
okay,
that's good.
Yeah.
You got to learn it. I got to know 2 and Finnish as well.
Oh yes, right. There's no football game being played in Finland, but there is a hockey game that was just played there.
Just to honor your lineage,
right? That's true. And Vigeland is Norwegian,
Vigeland.
and I gotta learn a Farsi.
Yeah, do is how you say too.
Okay, gotcha.
2.5, and for the Hawks here,
the
underdogs. But
I took us down this road. I apologize.
The Duolingo segment of the show.
Yeah.
My thing here is that despite all those caveats, I think both the Seahawks defense and offense are playing better than the Buccaneers are now. I also think the vibes are really off on that team. Even though they had that close win against the Rams also haven't been playing particularly well, and it was a low scoring kind of slog of a game to begin with. I think even though the Seahawks struggled a little bit more last week, I still trust their offense to be high functioning and efficient, and their defense has only been getting better since the start of the year. Mm-hmm. They're basically now almost more of a league average defense than a bottom 5 defense.
They really have been improving.
So my thinking there is just if they can play mistake-free football and keep the train on the tracks, I could just see I could see a Bucks implosion again because we've seen a few. They lost to the Panthers.
Yeah.
They lost to the Steelers. Like they have had bad losses against worse teams than the Seahawks.
I just would. I mean, hey, look, we're locked in, but I wouldn't bet on this game just because I find these Europe games really, really wonky, and also the Seahawks. If I were to bet, I might bet on the Bucks just because the Seahawks are coming all the way from the West Coast. But
It's gonna energize them.
yeah,
Gino's
sure.
gonna be doing high knees on the plane.
Oh, we didn't even
Ooh.
get to. There's like some drama between like what Russell Wilson
Oh
was
yes! Oh
saying.
my God! Yes.
But we'll get to
about
that
the wristband. Yeah.
maybe on Monday.
Let's ride.
Wow. Let's do it. But yeah, I mean, I just look. I don't know if there's a desperation factor for the Bucks or if they have more to play for. But at the same time, it's like the NFC West is also very competitive between the Niners and the Seahawks at this point. So I could see it going either way.
Yeah, and I think maybe that might put some urgency there in the game too, that they are kind of actually in it for the division lead. So, but we'll see. You're
Yeah.
right. I think really anything could happen, but
Of those, of those picks by you, I feel the worst about that one.
yeah, that's fair.
And you can give that commentary about mine here. Maybe that might be how I feel about the Chicago pick for myself.
No, I don't know. It's against the Lions. The Lions are awful.
I know, and I just feel like they're at home, and the vibes in Chicago right now, despite the fact that they lost, are so good. And again, betting on vibes, maybe not the best idea, but
yeah, but this was Justin Fields', I would argue, his best game as a starting quarterback.
I mean, he's playing with confidence. The Lions, I feel like they get one win a month or one every 6
they basically
weeks,
have.
and they blow their load. Excuse my the gross usage of that phrase right there. And then they just
brought ourselves into the trenches and only one team returned.
yes, and like it's just like they're crying after
Everyone's
this
like,
loss against the Packers, and it's just all right, guys. I mean,
ball goes to every single goddamn last one of you.
and it's just like I just feel like they're gonna have some sort of emotional hangover after beating Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Plus, I just think Chicago's a better team and they're finding their groove here. I saw the stat that over the last 4 games, the Bears have a top 10 offense in expected play at an EPA per drive, which I feel like the fact that the offense is getting it together a little bit, it could be a bit of a shootout with the Lions, but I have more faith in the Bears right now, and I think that their offensive performance will finally net them a win in this game, and Fields is going to just continue taking the next step.
Yeah, I could see it. This to me could definitely. It's not as if he's going up against a great team. The Lions are not. The Lions are not only has the bottom fallen out for the defense for sure, obviously, except barring this last Packers game, which it seems like a bit of an anomaly, frankly.
And did I say sorry? -2.5. So both
Right.
of those lines were Atlanta and Chicago winning by a field goal.
After you fire your defensive backs coach, I'm not expecting a whole lot of consistent defensive play, and also. The offense has sputtered from being as efficient and kind of as exhibiting as much firepower as they were in the first few weeks of the season. And I think the Bears are kind of on the opposite trajectory. I think Claypool is maybe injected a little bit into their game. I think Fields just finding his rhythm on the ground and using his speed, using his scrambling ability, as opposed to just trying to stay in the pocket and rocket passes, which he's actually doing in a better way than he has before with that awesome shot to Mooney in the end zone from last week. So no, I definitely see it. I honestly, it's kind of wishful thinking for me. I just want the Bears to succeed.
Yeah, so. and DeAndre Swift he's limited in practice right now. That doesn't move the needle for me too much.
If he's limited too, if he's not even necessarily at full strength, we'll even see if it does a.
I mean, he had his ankle and shoulder, so it's like how hard can you run?
Is not in good shape.
I know he's such a great talent, but it just seems
he's
like
awesome.
It's always something with him.
Yeah.
And it just does. Running back doesn't really move the needle for me too much. If I already have an instinct about a game, so.
Right.
I'm going with the Bears, but that's the one of the 3 that I feel least confident in.
And then for my second one, I'm choosing more chaos because I'm choosing the Vikings plus 3.5
All
over the Buffalo
dogs.
Bills. The underdog
All
returns.
Dogs.
The undefeated underdog returns.
I have all favorites, and he has all dogs. Here we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
David versus Goliath.
Right,
Even though
exactly.
I'm winning.
I do not want to be David or I do not want to be Goliath in this.
I have to because I'm winning so much. I have to have the prosecuted narrative.
No, you're Goliath.
I'm like the Warriors now. No one believes in me.
Okay.
Simply no one believes in me.
Yeah, right.
I have overcome so much adversity.
Sure, Steph.
I had 2 pushes last week.
So like it just Minnesota plus 3.5. Why do you like it? I mean, it does seem like Josh Allen might not play.
My primary thing that I'm gambling on here, which is like this is not wishful thinking. I think people can tell I love Josh Allen. I love watching him play. He fascinates me as a person. I have a real admiration and slight obsession with the man.
Yeah, besides Lamar, is Josh Allen the most beloved quarterback in the NFL?
Because I just like that he's also just seeming like a dopey himbo. Like he's just like a wide, tall, like happy lad who likes to like golf and fish.
Yeah, he's great.
But he's seemingly not at full strength if he were to play, and he has a UCL and potential nerve injury in one of his arms, which to me is really concerning because if he's going to play, he will certainly be playing through pain.
Who's his backup?
Case Keenum?
Revenge game, baby.
Wow! Oh gosh, I didn't even consider that. This should have moved the line. This should have moved the line in Buffalo's favor even more.
Not really, but yeah. But I mean, one of the best backups in football.
Yes, I think he will give them capable, proficient play. That's just what Case Keenum does. Like you said, on the Vikings, he literally in a backup. He literally was he the backup when they won that playoff game, but they won that playoff game with him.
Yeah, they did. There was a Minneapolis Miracle.
Right.
Well,
he was in for Bradford, right?
He stepped in and just kind of took over.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you know, he will definitely give them at least a high floor. I think. I just think that the way the Vikings are playing, the way that they're feeling, being 7-1, I think they're pretty confident and rightfully so. And I think if they continue to play mistake-free football, and also let's not forget, guys. This Bills defense, as well coached and awesome as they are and formidable as they are not at full strength. Micah Hyde's out for the season. Jordan Poyer's been kind of banged up. That's the reason he had to drive from Buffalo to Kansas City for that game, because he wasn't fully healthy to begin with and didn't think he was going to play. A few of their super important guys in the secondary are not fully healthy or completely out, and they're relying on lower level talent in those fields in those areas of the field where for how they play, that the secondary is so important to how the Bills play. And if they get exploited somehow, that'll be really tough for them.
Right.
So the front four, of course, it's still pretty. You got Von Miller out there just demonizing people.
Yeah.
But I'm just banking on that Allen, either the slight loss of Allen at his top level or the complete loss of Allen minimizes the potency of the Bills.
No
attack.
Gregory Rousseau either, or Matt Milano.
Yeah, oh boy, yeah, that to me
they
is
are
tough.
ravaged by injuries. I mean,
So one of their
Matt Milano's day to day.
So one of their most explosive edge rushers in Rousseau, and basically who I would consider the centerpiece of their defense in Milano, because he's just such an all-around talent and so smart, has such a head for the game. So
yeah.
I could see this being a tough one, but we'll see. I also could be I don't even feel super confident about this one, if I'm going to be honest with you folks.
Yeah. God, I'm totally blanking on the name of the linebacker that plays alongside Milano.
Who? Edmonds?
Yes.
Trey
Edmonds?
Edmonds?
Tremaine Edmonds. I was about to say Trevante. Yeah, Tremaine Edmonds. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to have that all be on his shoulders.
I'm annoyed because our listener Bill from the YouTube chat is not listening, and he thinks I always snub the Vikings, and here I am betting on the Vikings. So,
there you go.
Bill, if you listen to this later, you're welcome.
Yeah. And Tremaine Edmonds is day to day. Did you say that already?
No, if he's day to day too, jeez,
Yeah,
that's a lot of guys on either day to day or on the
rest up,
report.
Bills. We all want you to win the Super Bowl.
Literally.
but not this week, because I want you to beat Bradley.
Oh wow.
But I think that's a really good bet by you. All right, I'm finally doing. I'm taking the Giants. It just.
Wait, sorry. Someone said in the YouTube chat. Don't mean to interrupt you. Martin from the YouTube chat. Also, Stephon Diggs' revenge game. Obviously.
Right.
Totally missed that one as well. Two prominent former Vikings.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just like
It's been a while.
it's been
He's
a while
a Bill now.
and
He's basically a Bill.
He's
now.
happier. He's
Yes,
happier.
certainly happier.
So it's not even revenge. Like they did what he wanted and they traded him.
Yes,
to a place
now
where,
he's like having a good time.
Yeah, he's having the best time.
Oh, and another one of my tactics, Emma, betting on your team.
I know. I don't know why I did this, but
think
I
you're
just
copying me a little bit.
perhaps, but I am not taking dogs, which is your thing. I thought about Titans minus 2.5 against the stupid Broncos, but at the same time, I just don't know if Malik Willis is playing or not, and I think he looked pretty bad in the final half of that game against the Chiefs. Not his fault. He needs time to develop. We've all known that. He does have some great tools, but then
Right,
you know,
you're right. Like first half was he had a much better showing, but he's a great runner. But it's just like it's a lot to put on him.
yeah, and I thought about the Steelers plus 1.5 at home versus the Saints, but I just can't bet on the Steelers again this year. I told myself I wouldn't because they've burned me so many times. And then the Cowboys minus 4.5 in Green Bay. That would probably have been the one I felt best about other than this Giants game. But the Giants are at home. The Texans suck, and like. You know, I don't think Lovie Smith is a good coach. I think he's yet another sacrificial lamb for this just really like trashy organization to discard another black coach so they can hire like fucking Josh McCown or something like that.
But you
later
also
on.
just know what he is.
Yeah.
He's a known quantity. There's no ingenuity or creativity from Lovie Smith because he's kind of been don't get me wrong. He's a legend in the game, but he's established as to what he likes to do on offense and defense, and he doesn't change that. It's like having Gus Bradley as your coach.
Yeah.
You know exactly what you are going to get from that
100%, 100%, and that's why it's so clear that he's not a long-term. He took the job probably knowing that gonna get paid. He'll be gone next year, and they'll try to hire some evangelical Christian that
they'll find whoever
the
goes to
owner
church
will like.
with Nick Casario
and
or with Cal McNair.
Exactly. So I just feel like the Giants being only 4 points. 4 points? The Giants are 6-2, and the Texans are the worst team in the league.
Yeah, and I think they could totally exploit this defense. The defense is not good.
The defense is not good.
They have a few interesting young pieces, but that's not enough. They're not a good team.
So 4 points at home for the Giants against an opponent that has lost a bunch. And the Giants have big guys in the interior of their defensive line, like Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence, who are really good at stopping the run. I know that Dameon Pierce is a star, but if you have a smart coaching staff and a team is one-dimensional and they can't pass, like they are not a good passing offense, that's going to be a difficult time for Davis Mills and that Texans team.
What I will say about Dameon Pierce, though, and this, the only, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not watching a whole lot of Texans games, not chewing a lot of Texans tape. I know this because he's on my fantasy team, but he's been eating up yards, which is great, but they've been
not getting in the end
zone.
zone.
That's the thing. They've been having trouble getting him in the red zone.
And
so
the Giants are good
thing.
at that with like bend don't break. So plus if you make them one-dimensional, I mean, you're going to get some creative blitzes from Martindale, and it's going to rattle Davis Mills, I feel like. I'm worried a little bit because Xavier McKinney broke his hand on an ATV, and he's been one of the most... And honestly, it's just, he's been really durable
No
this
ATVs
year.
during the season, guys.
I know. He was in Cabo on a sightseeing tour, and I can see how like maybe it got turned over and something happened. You thought it was low risk.
Every time the housewives go on an ATV or something like that, they flip over.
I know.
It's never a good idea.
And of course, like Jihad Ward, who's on the team, I follow like all the Giants players on social media. He posted like a few days before him doing a wheelie on an ATV.
Like stop
no
doing
ATVs.
that. I thought that was in the contract. By the way, just real quick, Jihad Ward, love that guy.
Yeah,
great player.
Great player. I mean, he's not a great player, but he's a perfect system fit for exactly
but
what
I
Martindale
always see him doing like the stuff you need to be done.
Yeah, no, he's a good player.
He's always like, I feel like doing at his assignment, like playing hard. Like I feel like he's a good solid presence on that defense, even if like you said he's not like always the explosive play guy.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
Giants -4. Feel like I'm setting myself up for a really emotional loss, but I just felt like that was just way too little of a spread.
Yep.
But anyway, final pick for you, Bradley.
All right. Again, not super excited about this one, but you know what? When I bet on the Cardinals last time on Thursday Night Football, Andy Dalton did throw 2 pick sixes in a row.
And the Rams look like garbage.
And the Rams look bad. They just lost a rock fight to the Bucks last week. Offense does not look like it really has much juice. I think we can contribute that to a little bit of a regression from Matt Stafford. Not as much continuity on the line. Whitworth retiring, Austin,
and Stafford's in concussion protocol.
Oh, he's in concussion protocol, so perhaps he might not be playing. What's that? Austin Corbett's no longer with the team. He's on the Panthers now, one of their Super Bowl linemen. Joe Noteboom is the replacement for Whitworth, who is he's an okay player, but he's not nearly what Whitworth was on the left side. And it's basically, as of now, because they've still been struggling to get Allen Robinson going. Their weapons outside of Cooper Kupp are basically, Ben Skoranek. He's an okay guy, more of a fullback almost in terms of how he's used. Tyler Higbee. So Kupp can shoulder a decent load, but he can't do everything. Mm-hmm. And as we've been seeing, which I think is the reason why they were trying pretty hard to move him before the deadline, Cam Akers hasn't really been able to get anything going on the ground. He's not really. He's been kind of a real disappointment throughout his career with the Rams. Unfortunately, I feel like basically Darrell Henderson got so much more run even in their playoff run last year.
Yeah. Well, last year,
and he was injured.
Last
correct?
year Akers was injured and only came. He tore his Achilles and came back for the playoffs. So that's why Darrell Henderson was getting that.
But even in the playoffs, I think Henderson was maybe getting
it's
a little
hard
bit...
coming off the Achilles.
No, of course.
Yeah,
I guess what I'm saying is I think it's a combination of, lackluster play when healthy and the injury concerns with him.
Right.
That he's had a rough go in LA. So I'm not even... This is, again, not really a pick, more to be super bullish on the Cardinals, because I still think even with DeAndre Hopkins back, this team is kind of dysfunctional, and I don't really know exactly what they're trying to accomplish on either end of the ball, even though some of Vance Joseph's defenses, just because he's a good defensive coach, are really capable and are really kind of fun to watch because they're just so blitz happy. Mm-hmm. It's not really like a endorsement of the Cardinals. It's more an indictment of the Rams that I think that they're at.
Yeah.
That I think I'm almost surprised that they're favored over the Cardinals.
And with 1.5, that's basically a pick 'em. So I would pick the Cardinals straight up as well on a neutral site. So and it's the Rams. So.
Right, because what were we saying? Kind of the rule is there.
Usually the rule of thumb's been 2.5 for home point advantage, and we've had an IMer write in and correct me when I said 1.5. But apparently, just the trends of home field advantage have been going away ever so slightly. So. It depends on the book, I think, but
okay. Gotcha.
It might be 1.5. I don't know.
Yeah, because I see 1.5 here, and I'm like, this. I think it's basically even.
Yeah.
Especially given the quality of the both teams, I don't think either one has a huge advantage.
No.
So we'll see.
That's it, guys. We have those are our picks for NFL Week 10.